Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you all for joining. I am super excited about being here. My name is Bill Dow from Dow Publishing LLC. This webinar is called PMO Metrics, introducing them into your PMO. I'm really excited about this. This is something that we've been trying to do for a while. It actually came up, one of the viewers of my Dow Publishing LLC YouTube channel actually asked for it. So I wanted to put together, wanted to get that out there. So let me know what you think. Like I said, my name is Bill Dow with 30 plus years of hands-on experience. I've been a PMO manager at University of Washington for over a year now. I was at Microsoft for 14 years. I ran 8 PMOs there. Worked at AT&T and Singular. Ran some PMOs there. In 2020, you'll see there, I was named one of the top 16 PMO leaders of the world. So super excited about that. I have been presenting around the world as well. So the PMO conference in London, England, Vancouver, Canada, San Diego, Las Vegas, Toronto, Ontario. So various conferences around the world, from PMI to Project Summit World. So super excited about that. Got a great YouTube channel, Dow Publishing LLC. My blog is at BillDowPMP.com, and I am a 4-time author of the PMO Lifecycle, Building, Running, and Shutting Down, Project Management Communication Tools, Tactical Guide for Building a PMO, and back in 2008, the Project Management Communication Bible. So lots of experience, lots of passion in this area, and so I'm super excited about walking through these metrics today. Okay, so we got a great agenda. We're going to go through quick introductions around metrics. We're going to talk metrics and KPIs. We'll talk about the types of metrics, creating a metrics, and give you some examples. We'll go through some best practice around metric creation, and we'll summarize and give you some more information. So what are the key metrics for a PMO? This is a question I get asked all the time, and it's not easy, right? Because every PMO is different, and every PMO has different executives, and they have different needs. So there's no real one set of key PMO metrics, because you could say, you as a PMO manager could say, yes, there are these key metrics, but your executives or your leadership may want different metrics. I did document all my thoughts and all my, there's a lot of the same information in chapter 17 of my book, the PMO Lifecycle, Building, Running, Shutting Down, so you can get more information there. But let's do it. Let's dive into it. Okay? But wait, before we do that, I just want to pause for a sec. I just want to ask this question. How many of you are actually running PMO metrics in your organization? How many of you are knocking out of the park? How many of you got these metrics, you're nailing the metrics, and everything's going great? I'll wait. Yeah, probably not many. And this because metrics are hard. Metrics are not easy. And so getting them established and getting them running in your organization is very difficult to do. Clearly, some people are doing it and knocking it out of the park, but in most cases, it's quite a challenge. But let's kind of work through those challenges and help you at least get some of them set up. One of the things that comes up quite a bit is, what's the difference between a metric and a KPI? I get this question often as well, right? What is that difference? Well, a key performance indicator, a KPI, is kind of a metric. In other words, all KPIs are metrics, but not all metrics are KPIs. So KPIs have these characteristics. They're defined by management and customers. They cascade through the organization. They're based on corporate standards. They're easy to comprehend. They empower users, and they lead to positive action. So these are the characteristics of a KPI. Make sense? Okay. So what are some of the types of metrics, right? And KPIs, but what are some of the types of metrics? Well, there's organizational and there's performance metrics. There's qualitative and quantitative metrics, and there's tangible and intangible metrics. And I'll let you go and read through chapter 17 of my book and go look at those, but these are just some of the types of metrics that are out there. And we're going to give you some examples. So when you're creating metrics, right, it's important to know how to create them. And so there's a set of fields and some recommended fields that I strongly suggest that you set up when you're creating metrics for your organization. What's the purpose? What's the baseline number? What's the target number? How will you measure it? So the unit of measure and the frequency. What are your leading indicators and what are your lagging indicators? And then what would be the reporting method? When and how will the data be reported? So these 8 fields are what I would think would be the basis of you getting set up for your organization, right? And so when you're thinking about metrics and creating metrics, you're going to want to at least get these 8 set up. Want to see some examples? Awesome. Well, let's jump into some examples. So here's an example around organizational people. So what's the metric? Percentage of project managers should be PMP certified, right? Why? PMP certification enhances project manager skills. What's our baseline number? We want 60%. What's our target? We want 90%. What's the unit? The PMP certifications. What's the frequency of the leading indicator? The number of project managers scheduled to take the exam. What's the lagging? The number of project managers not interested in taking the exam. Reporting method. This method is reported monthly to the PMO management team, including functional managers where applicable. So here is a great metric, right? This PMP has been around for years and years. It's the cornerstone of project management. And so obviously as a PMO manager, this would be a great metric and a great metric to get started in your organization. What do you think? Pretty good? Awesome. Here's another one. The PMO metric, methodology, process, and governance. That's the topic. Metric, percentage of programs and projects that use a standard program or project methodology. Purpose, and I'll give you a minute to look at those. What's the baseline number? 40%. What's the target? 90. What's the unit of measure? The projects following the methodology. What's the leading? The number of projects that are following. What's the lagging? The number of projects that are not following. Reporting method. This metric is counted and reported with project hit milestones and associated sign-off meetings. This is a great example, right? This is another very, very easy example that you can implement and get going as you start creating metrics in your organization. What do you think? That's an easy one. Here's another one. The number of project teams that use a centralized project repository. Centralized project repositories increase communications to management. I'll let you read those. Baseline, 75%. Target, 95%. Unit of measure, program and project websites. Leading indicator, lagging indicator, reporting. And I'll give you a minute to look at those. What do you think? Again, another great process. And why is this so important? Because if you've got all your project managers storing their project information all over the place and they're not in a centralized repository, it's going to be much harder to gather that information. Again, another key metric, one that you could easily create. Want another example? Sure, here we go. Tools. Percentage of projects using Microsoft Project. Purpose, baseline, target, unit of measure, leading indicator, lagging indicator, and the reporting method. And I'll give you a minute to look at those. What do you think? Not bad, right? Want another one? No, we could do this all day. But one of the things I really want to focus on is what are some best practices, right? And so I won't drain the slide, but this is just at the highest level, right? You want your management and your team and your customers to ask you to change your approach to metrics. First, you want to consider how you're measuring the success of your PMO. I can't stress enough on that. You want to keep your management team and customers involved in the process. You want to establish metrics around business value, right? Only set metrics for your areas of control. If you set metrics that you can't control, it's going to be much more challenging to actually be able to hit those metrics. Limit the number of metrics. I gave you 4, right? You don't want to do 25 different metrics. It's not going to be sustainable, and you want to crawl, walk, run with this. Tie new metrics to existing organizational metrics. And then I strongly suggest you bring a Six Sigma person, black belt or master black belt, right? You want someone that's really great around metrics that are helping you build these out to really help you be successful in this process. Okay? So as we summarize, PMO metrics can be very complicated. They don't have to be, but often project PMO managers kind of make them more complicated than the organization is ready to handle. I've seen that a lot. So you want to crawl, walk, run with this. You want to take it slow. You want to be successful. Sometimes metrics drive bad behavior in the organization. You got to watch for that, right? Where the goal is we just got to hit a number. We got to hit the metric. We got to hit the metric at all costs. And that is absolutely the worst place to be. So really watch for that. And PMOs need metrics to continue to improve, right? You have to have that metric to keep moving that bar. And it's important, though, that we put them in place. We must ensure the organization is ready. So we can put all these metrics in place, but if the organization is not ready to accept the metrics, or we really struggle with that, then it's going to be, you're going to have a hard time really successfully delivering those. Does that make sense? Yeah. So more information, Chapter 17, the PMO Life Cycle, Building, Running, Shut Down. I published it in 2017, updated it in 2020. That's the freshest one. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple, it's all out there. Definitely go check that out. Here's my information, Bill Dow at DowPublishingLLC.com. Get me on LinkedIn. There are my 2 books. And that's all I have. So what I'll do now is I will pause for questions. I'll take questions offline. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for your time, and have a great day. Thanks.